Hey everybody, welcome back to BK's Bullets. Today we're talking Marvel's Ant-Man movie in our March to Infinity War. Hey everybody, welcome back to BK's Bullets. As always, I am your host, Brent Cosina. Today we're going to do a quick review of Marvel's Ant-Man movie. And let's get to it. So this came out the same summer as Avengers Age of Ultron. It was I think later in the summer, maybe June or July, and that had opened up the summer in the beginning of May, first weekend of May, as every Marvel movie has done since Iron Man 1. And it would have been the same way with Infinity War, but they moved it up a week, so thanks for that. Ant-Man is, another fun fact, is also the second Marvel movie to use a full frame aspect ratio. I think it's that way because of the comedy as well as all the shrinking and stuff. You get more of a view of how big Scott Lang is, Ant-Man is in relation to all the other things on the screen. So instead of the letterboxed aspect ratio for every Marvel movie except the Avengers, this is the full 16:9-ish ratio, stuff like that. What's strange, though, just a little bit on aspect ratios, is that Guardians of the Galaxy had certain scenes shot in IMAX, or formatted in IMAX anyway, and then the upcoming Infinity War apparently was shot all on IMAX cameras, or formatted specifically for the IMAX screen. So when that translates down to a home video setup, it's really the 16:9 frame. But are we going to get that frame when we view it at home? I think the Civil War had certain scenes in IMAX. I think the airport battle and stuff like that was shot in IMAX. But on home video, at least it's all letterbox and stuff like that. So just a weird thing about aspect ratios. But Ant-Man, let's get back to it. We got Peyton Reed directing, with a story credit by, I think, himself. Paul Rudd also helped out in the script, but most importantly, we're going to talk about Edgar Wright. Now, Edgar Wright has done a number of movies, most recently Baby Driver, which is really good. I recommend it if you haven't seen it. Also, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, another really good video game / comic book movie. And then you have Shaun of the Dead. What's the other ones? The World's End, which is about a bar, and there's one in the middle there, too. I'm forgetting Hot Fuzz, which is a great movie. All three of those are pretty good, except maybe the World's End is not so good. But anyway, Edgar Wright, British, quirky, lots of fun, lots of energy, cuts great stuff to music, great soundtracks, things like that. Have been working on Ant-Man since before 2008, or just as Iron Man came out, they announced that Edgar Wright was working on an Ant-Man movie. So that had been in production, or not production, but in development for a long, long time, and then finally it was are we hearing anything? We've had other Marvel movies come out. I think the Avengers had come out, and people were like, where's this Ant-Man movie that everybody keeps talking about, we've heard about for, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And then just before the production was going to start on this one, we heard that he left due to creative differences on this Marvel movie. So Marvel had already announced that this Ant-Man movie is going to come out in this time frame. They had a release date scheduled, they had a star, and they poured all their resources into it, and miraculously turned out a really good movie. Usually when stuff happens at the last minute, or they're racing to things, you don't normally get a good movie. Look at Justice League, for example. We're not here to bash Justice League. We're here to talk Ant-Man. So Peyton Reed, I think, had been known for doing Yes Man, some Jim Carrey comedy that wasn't very good, and a couple of other rom-com or light comedies and stuff. So he comes in to do it. Everybody's kind of oh man, how's this movie going to turn out? And this movie is really good. It's a really fun, enjoyable movie. There's a lot of comedic elements, not just in shrinking down and how the end fight scene is so good to rewatch. Just the comedic humor, and when he's in Yellow Jacket and Ant-Man are fighting in Cassie's room, and they're throwing toys at each other, and then it cuts back to a normal size, and you're looking at these little toys flying in the air, and it's ka-chunk, ka-chunk, instead of the big boom you would get on the Civil War airport battle and stuff like that. Anyway, really inventive. It's really impressive how well this movie came together. So it's almost I can't say enough about it. It's so impressive that this thing was in development hell almost for 10 years. The director bailed. they rewrote the script really quickly, got a new director, a new vision really quickly, and then bing bang boom, this thing comes together and it's great. So that's the basic story of Ant-Man on the like trivia history side. But in the movie, you have Scott Lang. He's an ex-convict, and then he gets recruited to be the new Ant-Man by Hank Pym, played by Michael Douglas. And he's going to steal the Yellow Jacket suit, which Mr. Darren Cross has been developing, and he's been leading up Pym Technologies and stuff like that. So it's a heist movie and a comedy movie all rolled into one. So really great idea of, I don't know who came up with this idea, but making it a comedy and a heist movie, kind of Ocean's 11, but turning up the comedy is a really great spin on, the Marvel formula and things like that. So that's the basic plot of the movie. Ant-Man's successful, yada yada yada. So let's talk about the comics here. You have the original Ant-Man, which is Hank Pym. You have talk of Janet Pym, and you see her as the Wasp in the film, but they're kind of like in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the secret agents of the 80s and stuff like that. They don't exist anymore, or one's disappeared and one's too old, right? So now the current, Ant-Man and Wasp, so to speak, are Scott Lang, who is the second Ant-Man in the comics, and Hope Pym, or I don't know what her last name is in the movie. I think it's Pym, but she does not exist in the comics as of yet, even to this day. So it's a new character they created to be Scott Lang's contemporary, which is kind of cool. So it's an interesting twist, not using Hank Pym and not having Hank Pym be a founding member of the Avengers. In the comics, Ant-Man and the Wasp were founding members of the Avengers. So your original Avengers in the comics were Iron Man, Hulk, Ant-Man, the Wasp, and Thor. And then in Avengers 4, they discover Captain America. So to have these founding members of the Avengers in the comics be almost ancillary, forgotten characters in the cinematic universe is kind of a really cool twist and makes, comic fans sit up and pay attention. So I thought that was kind of cool. But anyway, the movie is a whole lot of fun. You have Michael Pena being the cousin with the story, and my cousin told me, and the cousin, the way they intercut that with people just mouthing his words, and the Stan Lee cameos in there. There's 2 of those sequences. Ant-Man and the Wasp comes out this summer, and that's the sequel. So I'm excited to see that. Comes out after Infinity War, and it should be some fun. It should be a light, refreshing, fun piece after the massive movie that Infinity War is going to be. So all in all, I give Ant-Man 4 out of 5 stars. It's just a lot of fun. Go check it out. Go rewatch it if you haven't watched it in a while. It's well worth your time. And I will see you guys very soon in the funny pages. Please don't forget to like, comment, and share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the funny pages.